You could be tricked into eating certain foods, not knowing what they really include.
Some of the popular snacks and meals you consume without hesitation have surprising secrets behind how they are made. From pink slime in burgers to candies containing bug-derived ingredients, the truth about some of your favorite foods might make you think twice before eating them.
Chemicals. It is estimated 30,000 new chemicals are introduced to mankind every year. You have no say over the neighbour, but you have total say over what is in your house. Make a decision to become chemical-free and go for organically grown fruits and vegetables as much as possible. Be cautious about what some of the things that are in the supermarket. We had a pest control man do our program. He said to me, there are things in that supermarket that I'm not allowed by law to use. What would they be? Some of those oven cleaners, some of those bleachers, they're very toxic.
In this video, we'll reveal 20 foods Musk claims you'll never want to buy again once you learn how they are produced. Be sure to watch until the end, as some of these revelations may truly shock you. As a thank you for joining me today, we're giving away 100 free copies of my best-selling book to subscribers. So if you haven't yet, hit subscribe, like this video, and comment why you want to win.
There are new fears about the safety of canned food. Scientists say the tin lining is toxic, but the food industry insists there is no need for alarm.
Packaged bread. Packaged bread might seem harmless, but some of its ingredients are less than ideal. One notable additive is L-cysteine, which extends shelf life and improves texture. While this amino acid is naturally found in foods like meat, dairy, and vegetables, the version used in bread often comes from unexpected sources. Human hair is one of them, with salons in countries like China providing clippings that are broken down in acid to extract L-cysteine. Other sources include duck feathers, pig bristles, and cow horns. These materials go through processing before being added to bread dough to help it stay fresh and soft for longer. Some fast food chains have admitted to using bread with L-cysteine, though companies like McDonald's claim theirs is fully synthetic. Still, the idea of hair or feathers being part of the process might not sit well with everyone. And this is just the beginning. Stick around, you'll be shocked to learn what goes into some of your other favorite foods. Canned tomatoes. Canned tomatoes are a staple for many, offering convenience for quick meals. However, the real concern lies in the cans themselves. Many are lined with a resin that contains BPA, a chemical that can leach into food, especially when it comes into contact with something as acidic as tomatoes. Each time you open a can of tomatoes, you could be consuming a small amount of BPA. Long-term exposure to this chemical has been associated with health issues like hormonal imbalances, organ development problems, and even fertility concerns. Research indicates that nearly 93% of people have BPA in their urine, showing just how widespread exposure is. While experts continue to debate how much BPA poses a risk, the potential dangers are hard to ignore. If you're looking for a safer option, fresh tomatoes or those packaged in glass jars may be a better choice, as they don't carry the same BPA risks. The most surprising part of the video is coming up next. Jelly beans. The glossy finish on jelly beans comes from an unexpected source. That smooth, shiny coating isn't just sugar or a harmless glaze. It often comes from shellac, a substance produced by the female lac bug. These bugs consume tree sap and, during digestion, secrete a resin that hardens on tree branches. In countries like Thailand and India, this resin is collected, turned into flakes, and then dissolved in ethanol. The resulting liquid is sprayed onto jelly beans to give them their signature shine. Shellac isn't just used in candy, it's also applied to apples to make them look polished, and even appears in non-food products like furniture polish and floor coatings. For vegetarians and vegans, this can be a concern, as shellac is considered an animal byproduct. You might not even notice it on ingredient lists, as it's often labelled under the code E904. Energy drinks. Energy drinks are like tiny cans of instant fuel, loaded with caffeine, sugar, and a mix of stimulants with complicated names. They claim to boost alertness, sharpen focus, and give you the energy to keep going. What they don't mention is the havoc they can wreak on your body. They can send your heart racing, leave you feeling on edge, and hit you with a crash once the effects wear off. Beyond that, they can disrupt your blood pressure, interfere with sleep, and put unnecessary strain on your heart. With so much caffeine and sugar packed into each can, these drinks aren't exactly doing you any favors. Packaged meat. Many meat producers use carbon monoxide to keep meat looking red for weeks. This gas interacts with the pigments in meat, preventing it from turning brown, even as it begins to spoil. Without this treatment, meat would lose its red color within a few days, similar to what you'd see at a local butcher shop. The use of carbon monoxide makes meat more visually appealing to customers, but it can also be misleading. Even meat that has gone bad can still appear fresh until the package is opened and an unpleasant smell gives it away. A Michigan-based company called Culsec has spoken out against this practice, promoting natural alternatives for preserving meat's appearance. They use ingredients like rosemary extract and natural spices, but these don't keep meat looking red for as long as carbon monoxide does. Canned mushrooms. The Food and Drug Administration permits a surprising number of insects in our food, and canned mushrooms are no exception. Depending on the can size, it can legally contain around 20 maggots and dozens of mites per 100 grams. That means in a typical 3.5-ounce can, you could be consuming up to 19 maggots and 74 mites without knowing it. While these insects aren't considered harmful to eat, the idea of them being in your food isn't exactly appetizing. The production process is designed to preserve mushrooms for convenience, but it also allows these tiny critters to slip through. Since they are small and blend in with the mushrooms, they often go unnoticed, making them an unintentional part of your meal. Apple juice. There's more to apple juice than most people realize. Apples themselves are healthy, but the way the juice is processed can introduce unexpected risks. Arsenic, a naturally occurring element in minerals, can find its way into the juice. While small amounts are expected, too much can be harmful. The FDA previously allowed up to 23 parts per billion of inorganic arsenic in apple juice. After reassessing the dangers, particularly its connection to cancer, they lowered the limit to 10 parts per billion. What's surprising is that even at regulated levels, arsenic doesn't just appear on its own, it's linked to manufacturing methods. Companies must follow strict guidelines to keep levels in check, but mistakes can still happen. Pringles. Pringles aren't made from whole potatoes. Instead, they're a blend of rice, corn, wheat, and potato flakes. This mix is turned into a dough, rolled into thin sheets, and cut into the signature chip shape. The chips are then fried in oil and coated with powdered flavors. While this might seem like a standard snack-making process, there's more to it. The real concern is what happens when these chips are cooked at high temperatures. A chemical called acrylamide forms during the frying process. Acrylamide appears when carb-heavy foods are heated at 100 degrees, 212 degrees or more. It's been linked to cancer and isn't something added on purpose, but it still ends up in the final product. With all the processed ingredients and artificial flavors, Pringles aren't exactly a snack you'd want to reach for if you're thinking about your health. Hot dogs. Hot dogs are far from a nutritious choice. They're made from various leftover animal parts like skin, blood, and liver, all blended into an unrecognizable paste. To make matters worse, hot dogs contain large amounts of salt. Just one can account for a quarter of your daily sodium intake. Combine that with their fat content, and you're looking at a higher risk of heart disease, diabetes, and even cancer if you eat them regularly. Even if you're just having one as an occasional treat, studies suggest that a single hot dog could take 36 minutes off your life. That salad might be looking like a better option right about now. Bacon. Bacon might taste delicious, but the way it's made is far less appealing. It starts with pork, which is then cured in nitrates, salt, and sometimes sugar. This process preserves the meat and gives it its distinct salty flavor, but it also loads bacon with sodium, which isn't great for your health. Too much salt can raise blood pressure and increase the risk of stomach cancer. The bigger issue is the nitrates and nitrites used in curing. When exposed to high heat, they transform into nitrosamines, which are known carcinogens. Some bacon producers add vitamin C and other additives to reduce these harmful chemicals, but it's not a perfect fix. On top of that, bacon is high in fat, which can contribute to health problems if eaten too often. While it does contain some vitamins and minerals, the way it's processed makes it worth reconsidering. Blue cheese. Mold is a key part of making blue cheese, creating the signature blue and green veins. While it's meant to have a wild appearance, unwanted mold can sometimes grow, making it hard to tell if it's still safe to eat. The mold that's supposed to be there might not be a problem, but extra, unexpected growth is a different story. Aside from safety concerns, this cheese isn't great for your diet. Just 1 ounce contains 99 calories and 5 grams of saturated fat, which isn't ideal for heart health. On top of that, it's high in cholesterol with 21 milligrams per ounce, which adds up fast if you're not paying attention. And while it does contain calcium, it doesn't measure up to other dairy sources. Orange juice. Making orange juice at home is as simple as squeezing the fruit and pouring the juice. Big companies, however, take a different approach. While they do use real oranges, their process doesn't stop there. To extend shelf life, they store the juice in massive vats and remove all the oxygen. This allows it to stay fresh for up to a year, but it also removes the natural orange flavour. So how do they bring back the taste? Flavour packs. These are made from chemicals derived from orange oils and essences. The surprising part is that these same chemicals are used in perfumes. Essentially, it's a mix of artificial additives designed to mimic fresh orange juice, but it has little in common with the juice you'd make at home. It's not nearly as natural as it seems. Cheese sauce. You might assume cheese sauce is just melted cheese with a little seasoning, but it's more complicated than that. When you grab a jar of cheese sauce, what you're really getting is a blend of processed cheese, thickeners, artificial colours, and sometimes even unhealthy oils. Many brands include starches and preservatives to extend shelf life. Then there's the sodium. Cheese sauce is often packed with salt to maintain flavour, but too much of it can have negative effects on your health. Instead of real cheese, some versions use powdered cheese or artificial flavouring, which doesn't provide the same nutrients. The main goal of commercial cheese sauces is to be cheap and long-lasting, not necessarily nutritious. Enhanced chicken and beef. When you buy chicken or beef labelled as enhanced, you're not just paying for the meat, you're also paying for added salt water and other ingredients. Food processors inject these meats with a saline solution to make them appear fresher and retain moisture. That might not seem like a big deal until you realise that some chicken breasts can weigh up to 30% more just because of this injection. In other words, you're paying extra for water that shouldn't be there. Originally, processors used salt water simply to keep the meat moist, but they soon realised it didn't taste great. To fix this, they started adding corn syrup, lemon concentrates and broths to enhance flavour and help the meat retain more water. To bind everything together, they used sodium phosphate, but since that raised sodium levels too high for labelling requirements, they switched to potassium phosphate. This solved the labelling issue, but introduced another problem, bitterness. To mask that, they added natural flavours, which may sound harmless, but can refer to almost anything. Chewing gum. The ingredients in chewing gum are more complex than you might expect. One surprising addition is lanolin, a waxy substance from sheep's wool that helps give gum its chewy texture. It's commonly used in skincare products, but knowing it comes from sheep's sebaceous glands might make some people think twice. What makes it more concerning is that this ingredient isn't always listed, making it harder to know exactly what's in your gum. Then there's the gum base, which can be made from natural materials like sapodilla tree latex or food-grade AER. However, synthetic alternatives such as polyethylene and glycerol esters are also common. These same materials are often found in plastics. On top of that, artificial flavours, sweeteners and softeners are added, creating a final product that's far from natural. There's a lot more going on in that stick of gum than meets the eye. McDonald's burger. McDonald's burger production might seem straightforward, but the process is more involved than it appears. The beef comes from ranches in countries like the United States, Canada, Australia, and New Zealand, with suppliers such as Lopez Foods providing meat to McDonald's for decades. Once the beef arrives, it goes through inspections to remove any bones before being ground up. Machines then form the minced beef into patties, which are flash frozen to maintain quality during shipping. McDonald's highlights that their patties contain only beef, salt, and pepper, but the scale of their production raises questions about freshness and nutritional value. Flash freezing helps with preservation, but it can affect both texture and flavor. Since speed and consistency are priorities, the natural taste of beef takes a back seat, making the final product more about efficiency than quality. Red products. When you grab a red-colored snack or drink, bugs are probably the last thing on your mind, but they might be in there. Many red products get their color from carmine, a dye made by crushing cochineal insects. These small bugs are mostly farmed in Peru, where they are collected from cacti, dried and processed to extract their red pigment. This dye is then added to foods like yogurt, donuts, and even ice cream to enhance their appearance. What makes it tricky is how it's labeled. Instead of directly stating that it comes from insects, companies list it as carmine, natural red 4, or E120, leaving most people unaware of what they're actually consuming. While cochineal dye has been used for years, growing demand has pushed some companies to look for cheaper alternatives. Tomato-based lycopene is one option for a bug-free red color, but for now, crushed insects remain a key ingredient in many red-colored foods. The next part of the video will surprise you. Stay tuned. Shredded cheese. Next time you sprinkle Parmesan over your pasta, you might be adding more than just cheese. Many shredded cheese products contain cellulose, which is essentially wood pulp. It's used as an anti-caking agent to prevent cheese from clumping together, and it's completely legal. The FDA allows up to 4% cellulose in cheese, meaning a portion of what you're eating isn't even dairy. Castle Cheese Incorporated once faced serious trouble for mislabeling its Parmesan, mixing cellulose with cheap cheddar, and selling it as real Parmesan. That case brought attention to what actually goes into shredded and grated cheeses. Although cellulose has been used in food since the 1970s, many people still don't realize they're consuming it. It does add fiber, but if given the choice, most of us would prefer real cheese instead of a product padded with wood-based fillers. Beer. There's something unexpected about how certain beers are made. Some breweries use isinglass, a substance derived from fish swim bladders, to clarify beer. This method has been around since the 1800s, helping beer achieve a clear, marketable appearance. Without it, beer might look cloudy, which some brands try to avoid. The thought of fish parts being used in beer doesn't sit well with many people, especially vegans. Even for others, knowing their drink was filtered through fish remains is unsettling. Isinglass doesn't usually change the flavour or texture of beer, but its use raises questions about how natural the brewing process really is. Fortunately, more breweries are moving away from this method, looking for alternatives that achieve the same clarity without relying on fish-derived ingredients. Vanilla-based products. Vanilla might seem like a harmless ingredient, but the way some vanilla flavouring is sourced is far from sweet. Instead of real vanilla beans, some products use castoreum, a substance extracted from a beaver's castor sacs. These glands, located near the base of the tail, help beavers mark their territory. At some point, someone discovered that this secretion could be used to create a rich vanilla-like flavour in food. What makes it even stranger is that castoreum is often labelled as natural flavouring, meaning most people have no idea they're consuming it. It's a legal and FDA-approved ingredient, but the idea of eating something derived from beaver scent glands is enough to make many people pause. While high-end products usually stick to real vanilla extract, mass-produced goods often take the cheaper route. Share your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel. Click on the next video on your screen. You'll love it.